Hi guys, here's the second half of the homework for February 21st. We're solving equations by factoring. We got down to number 8 in the first video. I think we already started by subtracting -7. We end up with 5x squared plus 34x minus 7 equals 0. I'm going to go ahead and factor that guy. So, move this guy out of the way. I've got -7 times 5, that's -35x squared. Middle term in the bottom, that's 34x. We're looking for two numbers that subtract to get to 34 and multiply to get to 35. So that would be 35 times 1. Since 34 is positive, I'm going to put the bigger number with the positive, the smaller number with the negative. So here's the box. Side by box, I've got my first term, 5x squared. Last term's -7. My two factors are -x and 35x. So looking for our first row here, what's common to 5x squared and 35x? That would be 5 and an x. What times 5x gives you 5x squared? So I've got the 5, I've got 1x, I need one more x. What times 5 gives you 35? That would be 7. What times x gives you -x? That would be -1. Does -1 times 7 equal -7? Sure does. So now I've got 5x minus 1 equals 0. Sorry. 5x minus 1 times x plus 7 equals 0. Now that I've got it factored and set equal to 0, I'm going to split these guys up. We've got 5x minus 1 equals 0. X plus 7 equals 0. For the first one, I'm going to add 1 to both sides. I get 5x is equal to 1, and then I'm going to divide by 5. So x is equal to 1/2. For my second equation, I'm just going to subtract 7 from both sides, and x is equal to -7. All right, number 9, this one's a little special. I don't have a middle term here, and I see that I've got a 3, and 3 also goes into 12. So the first thing I'm going to do is factor out my greatest common factor, which is 3. What times 3 gives me 3x squared? That would be x squared. What times 3 gives me -12? That's -4. All right. Now, if you have a number out front, not a variable, if you have a number out front, you can divide off the number. You can't do this with an x or a variable, but you can with a number. The 3's will cancel, and then 0 divided by 3 is 0. So now I've just got x squared minus 4 is equal to 0. If you see that that's the difference of two squares, you can use the formula. Otherwise, we need to factor it. So when we factor it, remember, this is the same thing as x squared minus 0x or plus 0x minus 4 is equal to 0. We don't have a middle term there, so the middle term number coefficient should be 0. So last term times first term is -4x squared. 0x is on the bottom. So we're looking for two numbers that subtract to 0 and multiply to -4. If they're going to make 0, they've got to be the same. That would be 2x and 2x. So then I've got x squared, first box, -4, last box, a -2x and a positive 2x. What's common in my first row is x. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. X times -2 is -2x. And then -2 times 2 is -4. So this splits down to x minus 2, x plus 2. Now that I've got it factored, I'm going to split those two factors up. I'm actually going to take this up here. So I've got x minus 2 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0. I've set them both equal to 0, and now I'm solving each one for x. I'm going to add 2 to this one. So I get x is equal to 2. Subtract 2 from the second one, x is equal to -2. All right, number 10. Same thing for number 10. I see that I've got a GCF. These guys are all even numbers. So the first thing I'm going to do is factor out that 2 and divide it off. You don't have to, but it'll make your numbers a little smaller, and then you don't have to factor it out at the end. So if I pull out the 2, I've got a 2 times t squared would give me 2t squared. 2 times 7 would give me 14, plus I need that t. 2 times negative 18 would give me negative 36. And then I'm going to divide it off. Again, you can't do that with an x, only with a number. T squared plus 7t minus 18 equals 0. So to factor that guy, I've got negative 18 squared, t squared up at the top, 7t at the bottom. Since we're negative on top, we're going to be subtracting. Since my bottom number is positive, my bigger factor needs to be positive. So two numbers that multiply to 18, subtract down to 7, that would be 9t, negative 2t. So for my box here, I've got t squared, last term, last box. My two factors go in the middle boxes. Common between t squared and 9t, that would be t. What times t gives me t squared? That's t. What times t gives me 9t? That's 9. What times t gives me negative 2t? That's negative 2. Does negative 2 times 9 give me negative 18? It sure does. So I've got t minus 2, t plus 9 equal to 0. Now that I've got it factored, I'm going to split them up, set them both equal to 0. Here we're going to add 2 to both sides, t equals 2. Subtract 2 from both sides, t equals negative 9. All right, that's 1 through 10. That's all of your homework for February 21st.